Haaland ni goals na ɔhyɛ no na anopa yes our story no na me hwɛ the number of goals Haaland bona anu edene say Premier League wama 88 goals, Bundesliga 62 goals, Champions League 49 goals, Norway national team no wama 48 goals. Enti sa wo check sa goals we nyina na wo check matches na odi abona odi ahye sa goals na. These are incredible and impressive numbers. Aye good numbers for Brandt your friend say Haaland. Ken football na ye bono position bia no e wade ye kan say call duty. Call duty e essential responsibility sa role na wo se wutimi nya. Enti sa o pick Haaland or ye striker and as a center forward. So we a center forward who call duty ni say u team na wo si akan no ubetima se majority of sa team ni goals no. Enti every center forward bia no team na wo si akan no una goals no owosa wo shadow do because the core duty of a center forward is to score majority of sa teams ni goals no. And Ocha Haaland any numbers I will provide any goals I watch na ne core duty ne dwuma pa ya fa ne se onbehye goals en fama ne club no e yade a oye ne yi. So the big question here say edi enti na ma Haaland etimi hye sa goals ni bebrebe sa no. Enkin so what na sena o analyze Brandt any goals na. The reason why Brandt your friend say Haaland e hye sa goals ni nyina no e ye nuoma miensa. De edi kan e ye quality a player na nkasa eposese. Enye by luck. Haaland enye magician. Enye fluke. Se uni sa quality ni bia untimi hye sa kind of goals no. And to before so say player be sell very well no a chess player no e was quality ultimately perform at the highest level. And so what check Haaland or ma goals no e Bundesliga arguably one of the best leagues in Europe. Waba Premier League or say ma numbers no Premier League a league ba kwa ne bo edene enye easy say we player ubetima she goals bebre wo Premier League nim UEFA Champions League or say ma goals no UEFA Champions League and a top clubs in Europe ni nyina ahia enti so timi sa provide goals no ho a e chesa Brandt any possess quality be a special and the national team. So Haaland nanka so wo ho no as a center forward or quality as a center forward or you good finisher or you clinical niti ye adwuma ne nan ni nyina ye adwuma enti the first thing ama Haaland etimi hye goals no e quality Brandt na nkasa e possess no se over last season wo Premier League ni mpokra se case study last season wo Premier League ye ka se Haaland because of injuries and Manchester City form no when timi ama ye goals ni mpokra ope no last season na nyoma nko yeso amfama no o ma 31 games in the Premier League and o say 22 goals sa 22 goals na Haaland e hye no emu miensa pe outside the box and the moon 19 inside the box. Last season in the Premier League, or say just 3 goals outside the box, and amount 19 goals inside the box. And so what check here Brandt na based on how our first go, no ubet matter again say, or your force in the box. Ye ka force in the box, football man, ye players or man who are dene pano, or me dangerous, position box nim. And Haaland possesses our quality to be a top center forward. So the reason why Haaland Emma or Sao goals ni nyina say Haaland you be possess quality to be a center forward or very good. That's the first reason manager goals no. The second thing manager goals no a team o si akan and a coach is a play under them. So which teams are Haaland esi akan any coach is our form nsem ni nyina na a team approach DNA no attacking football. Coach is a Haaland form nsem typical example ye Pep Guardiola or ye attacking oriented coach. And so we a clinical finisher. Now koto team omoba attacking football ken me no mienu nyina nim say the likelihood say we yes player aye clinical no be goals no osoro as compared to team omo more defensive oriented. And apart from Haaland ne quality say mani goals no team no say see akan wom no team omo approach ni attack. So once oye clinical no the most likely say obetima goals no osoro. And the second reason team o see akan no omo approach attacking football. And the third reason why Haaland goals ni bebre no players around him. Every top player here quality player around him. And yes Ronaldo say goals pa by check players for me around Ronaldo. Messi say goals pa check players for me around Ronaldo. Haaland no say goals say obi ebo ni dey no check players on no musi akan. goals are no ɔhyɛ no Dortmund no Marco Reus ɛwɔ ne nkyɛn ɔwɔ Julian Brandt ɛwɔ ne nkyɛn ɔwɔ Jude Bellingham wɔ ne nkyɛn ɛyɛ players wɔn bɛtumi supply di ama no ɔba Manchester City ɛyɛ De Bruyne mo ɛyɛ Gundogan mo supply so wasa akɔ akoto team a ne playing mate ne supply balls ne bebree de ma no so ken ɛnɛ sɛ wo check numbers ade betu dwa na ɔhwɛ abrante ne numbers ɔde ma ɛyɛ world football na memfa ne compare play bia by trend na Haaland ɛkɔ no sesen ya na ɔbɛkɔ ne dia ɔde ne football ne bɛbɛ wiye no yɛbɛtumi aka sɛ ɔyɛ player baako a ɔbɛ end ne career no with high numbers based on the number of goals a wetumi provide ɛde ama ne club and national team no nneɛma mmiɛnsa ana ama Haaland ɛhyɛ saa goals no deɛ di kan ɛyɛ quality o possess as a center forward team a osi akan de mo ɔmo attacking football and a lot of players on betima supply balls no ɛde ama no a good player and a good finisher Haaland so obewie ne football career na ken ɛyɛ most likely say ɔbɛhyɛ a lot of goals. Good news for Barcelona. And then Oko Barcelona training grounds are. And you just say me wo ne say. Frankie de Jong etimi aye training, individual training for Barcelona team no. I see individual training no ye no. Now she a condition now Brandt ni feel good ne condition is very positive. Nemum Barcelona mpanyimfo say omo mpre omo ho e ma Brandt ni mbesi akan. Na target ni say omo ma Brandt no aye individual training ne kakra against Valencia the umbe rest no by target ni say ewo UEFA Champions League against Newcastle no ebedru ho na Brandt friend say Frankie de Jong etimi aye 100% fit obesi akan ediama Barcelona boboku no which I believe a very good news edema Barcelona fans no enawie ken Frankie de Jong a very important player edema Barcelona team no oyi Barcelona na oyi important player edema na coach no coach Barcelona Hansi Flick no Frankie de Jong say a very important player the ma coach because of the system coach ne body ma Barcelona bobuku no so Abrante friend say Frankie de Jong or a very important player at the ma Barcelona bobuku no last season Frankie de Jong etimi recover fully obesi akande ma Barcelona every Barcelona fan be who Frankie de Jong modern but anyhow I know you very important Edema Hansi Flick last season Barcelona air choke sources domestically now ka players ba come here influential Edema Hansi Flick now ntimi mbo ni Frankie de Jong emfem frim enti the moment abeti say a pressa ba Brandt na fan bi no ebe ha adwen kakra so now I say the condition what shall say training no e good for Barcelona so what take Hansi Flick mostly about three midfielders miensa na obo no obo baako as a number 10 a shadow midfielder obe operate right behind the main striker now asabo a central midfielder obe divide the pitch into two now dominating finfin mostly Oyusu Pedri na Frankie de Jong no Hansi Flick emani operate as a deep lying playmaker ogina defensive line enim and the juma na Hansi Flick ediama Frankie de Jong say yen control the tempo of the game from the deep position no Frankie de Jong so say Barcelona build attacking from the back nipa from the deep area or control tempo de ma Barcelona edema Hansi Flick system no Brandt friend say Frankie de Jong ano you be in terms of ball carrying yemfa ball nimfa free deep yemfa nko yenim no on the yes transition edema Barcelona ano you be o set me finding pocket of spaces ano making sure so be create chances with an intelligent passes no and say otwa ne ball any role now coach ndiama na or you very important edema papa friend say Hansi Flick because our role now all ball under Hansi Flick no enye player bi ano betima operate etimi sell very well so what me ball sad deep lying playmaker role no very well under Hansi Flick the other kind of say was a press resistant midfielder because time be now defensive line enim and to say we obi a we midfielder now you press so say we lose ball now time be the press about to Hansi Flick in Barcelona so say we operate sad deep lying role under Hansi Flick and was a press resistant then again it was our tactical awareness was so game ne kwaso no enya afi na coach be kire say say during the process of the game ultimately make effective decision Brandt friend say Frankie de Jong sad the Madrid coach I know you good pass of the ball so you're very important at the Hansi Flick in Barcelona and the coach no anka say na no pay no or sin any agisa Brandt na saba back because ye ka key players e won the system no ka ho bi and Barcelona medical team no smart because almost on be rest boy no against Valencia omo mpre omo hu bebre but playing against Newcastle e UEFA Champions League you know on be here Brandt friend say Frankie de Jong which is very important for Barcelona ken o take Newcastle for midfielders Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali, and Joe Linton. These are aggressive midfielders omu use aggressive pressing and omu very combative. Barcelona any midfielders abeka say Pedri Mone Frankie de Jong on be combative et say Newcastle for no enti wo say wunya technical midfielders on football IQ no wasro and Frankie de Jong a typical example. So a good news for Barcelona I say Frankie de Jong after so nya injury I want the national team no wetimi ababa be individual training aba say hope say against Newcastle no obetima ababa si akan player of the month Italian Serie A akọ Ediama Juventus Accra your friend is say Yildiz Ken Yildiz no me hwe ne ball na me hwe n'anim o ka me Paulo Dybala sa wo check Yildiz na wo hwe ball na wo ball with Juventus ne ball no ene n'anim ne bibia kwakwa ete say Paulo Dybala Yildiz operate mostly as a left winger and also ball as a number 10 player sa wo check team friend say Juventus Igor Tudor ebo 3 back na oyusu Yildiz no ana Conceição as the double number 10 team friend say Juventus. Na akra na friend say Yildiz ne ball na all boss say with Juventus no obeka say only 20 years say offer Yildiz na analyze na creativity oteke na ability to score mostly or shooting from long range oteke sadie no intelligent movement ubenya from Yildiz so say you find this space any vision ubenya fra brantie no ho and based on the age no any ball no obo no akra ne future ye bright dodo I will be expect to say player ba kwa Juventus obetima baba be the future obaba be the king Turin ya brand friend say Yildiz by problem ni ye say we player now wo quality now wo form say day now wo club entimi compete at the highest level affected because so so do the top level I was our club so a project and club ni betima project wa I was a club ni so compete at the highest level and so for Juventus na nkasa as a club ye be hu Dinozof ye be hu Platini ye be hu Papa friend say Zidane Roberto Baggio Sad time at Juventus was our players when no more dominating world football no. Not Juventus air compete at the highest level. Many workers say Juventus air compete at the highest level and I know. And to you this bebo ball ni na. Obi abeka sa what talent by say Juventus and me and compete at the highest level. Accra we ni talent ni nkofu hu ni sa. And to say you this able to do the top level. I just say Juventus air compete at the highest level. The next 2 years Ken say Juventus and me and by Europe and be compete at the highest level. You this no be free Juventus bobo kuni. Quality ne bond di unimbo by Juventus na waso mu project no show be to sell Lamine Yamal sanke ade se Barcelona struggle La Liga omo ntimi compete wo Europa anka Lamine Yamal endu sam pempenso wi emfa ho ne quality no enti say Yildiz na obi abo ne din no obedu sam pempenso na e was Juventus compete with the big guys at the top level.
We only other goal when you heavy
role ni different but we want see a special
so many about left or attackers into one heavy.
On say we need more of or no one any more. I say Adagule, say Adagule e wo deep. And we more offensive.
Okay, mama say put you say one are talented omomien.
Oh, me no be talented, but me call for Adagule. Me call for Adagule. But we see a special talent. Ne born akwa to say Paulo Dybala.
Can I hear this?
Or a special talent.
Okay.
Na me wie no
so Tamaso.
Okay.
Ana wa mo ba ko bi anka.
Say Mikel Obi ene Garnacho de no. Or say Garnacho Enzo Maresca coach obetima sama ne talent na sa baby no kre recently you coaches bebra or mama players are no more form etimi apeja typical example ye Hansi Flick ana Enzo Maresca na nkasa no say Chelsea players na wapeja bebra nemu se Garnacho betima say do top level na kese panic na Garnacho na nkasa so
eduwa ye behwe
so ono ankasa amboa ne ho a Enzo Maresca be ma ne playing time Chelsea players ne beboa no bono ankasa entimi susu amboa ne ho a ebeden
ana ye gidi Garnacho nkoma sa Jimmy Gatins no wen ono so wo ho
afi no so boba
boba se maintain nka me hu
afi no mato no nti no ne de ne ye slow start kakra na no not bench na ye de Tarek George abebobo ni bi ansa na lecture no ba game ni mo but unse ne adaptation no quite slow kakra na de wo ho na se so bi ehu ne se Enzo Maresca it may improve players but when it may improve Joao Felix when it may improve Disbury Hall ni nyina kire set se de kwa me kan ye no coach bebwa ba wankasa wa mwa wo a enye yie nti yes it is true the coach can improve but wankasa player no if you are not willing to improve so chirewade na wanye serious about it I'm sorry nti say Garnacho conversation is be ya ma na ye da ni nyina no I will say 80% depends on the player asam ne tintin ne tiatia na say nkomo no de ama na ahye bufuo ne say sene John Mikel Obi nansen say oye superstar say Mikel Obi no je Ballon d'Or nka ye back or bekasa kesese ye ne te press conference no bi etie no mem so the biswa to ama ne Nicolas Jackson na me tie na me stressa say kinei
wedwane
Mikel Obi Morino by name say Makalele wo ho. The following year no kofa Asian Bekano. The following year ena Michael Balake ba no ena Obi so buy ente sa. Obi otumi tu omumu bia.
Ba wanwane.
That's
also wanwane.
He spent 11 years with Chelsea. Echire Matip Nimanja Matic kura na oba echire no. Hwe ni impact. But now 11 years impact probably pa na kwa wait if he had moved on it could be a better football legacy.
So Chelsea
impact probably na
we Champions League first one on an age ma
Ramirez later on buy Ramirez can role and how impactful he was with Chelsea. Oh no, was he impactful than Ramirez? Oh no, who decided say Chelsea sick and na then na what's na Akuna is so person bobo. Me ni kono the only problem me want say. Inka was so called Newcastle couple ni bibo. Oh, once now we Johnny. First of all, Chelsea 74 charges. And aba. Na in some no ebe yanchire mu kakra. Na maminchire na issues be say ba they be a to Manchester City. I kept on telling you say social media no supporters to do na go inti what tie the enkofo twa one where you be confused now you mo hyehyw na Chelsea trophy o magye be Jeffrey o munsem na Chelsea please calm down. Manchester City charges 115. Similar to Chelsea the N1. But the way I told you about the Manchester City conversation is the social media and some. If you have time to read the rules and regulations, you understand how the thing will pan out. Time at Todd Bowley better Chelsea. 2.5 billion, no. Almost say 100 million pounds at the tour, and almost say unforeseen circumstances ebeba. Because afe no mabeto, no munya kwai enko book ni mu deep. It is Sikano, they allocated 100 million say ento and they told Boli more. Say Sikano eventualities be ebeba da achimi no, e ka bi ba. Sa Sikano ne be yi mu edi etua sa aka no. Because na afe e no be contract animo. So when Todd Bowley took over, and now the auditors said they should go back. They did not go back to check last 5 years or 6 years. Omuko deep way from 2004. Because to go year by year, now I check account challenge easy. It's throughout Chelsea for via their auditors. I should and I'm catch Todd Bowley mu say, nah. Inye be akoswa yen auditors yen tiase into Todd Bowley mo check yen no so na ade we die ya nko report ye ho a ya wo hosa na punishment aba because Manchester City the difference kakre wo ni say Manchester City the a display girl in central ko bi e na kohwehwe mu de baaye but Chelsea the na Chelsea for Todd Bowley nankasa no mo do mo ko say ya kohwehwe yen krata mu ye hu say Abramovich time no omudi bone into all difference City the na central ko bi ne kofa baaye Chelsea the Chelsea for nankasa na do ho akọ difference bio Manchester City the no UEFA for akenwie e ma Manchester City for tua 20 million euros Chelsea the no UEFA for akenwie e ma Chelsea for tua 10 million euros last year okay 8.7 million pounds euros 10 million euros into Chelsea and City there no me chance so any difference kakra wom no mu nyina UEFA for aka wie aka EPL for no into Chelsea for the omo ko wie na EPL for no se ate Samoa mo dem ho abade a ye behwehwem. Iti from last year, my investigations na afen no mo charges ediaba. Manchester City charges no 115 you know, back 54 charges there. No mususu sa Manchester City for accounts no details be omo this year. Ni nyina wa Chelsea charges ni mo, but just that the difference omo say City charges no dorso. I change Chelsea for the no. In some no ye kan nyina ekosi a eye sika and on budget clubs no or maximum a point deduction say said now on their two Nottingham for no same way it does not affect your trophy away blah 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 any we any day send here for social media things no more can banter and see make say who did this and some nature nyina na dey bia obebutu ho it say no the akoba say 74 charges no I was at Chelsea for a defend you because one or don't want bad the enable. I was some go back. Now for Chelsea for defend, I'm sure say Chelsea defense will probably be say sending crata near the bed with the motion I won't punish ye. But Chelsea, Manchester City, you know, Manchester City are ready to defend on more points. Chelsea for the admit to say there are wrongdoings. Since the difference back so a woman no. It's about me show so obiati as 74 charges no and obi catch us say and Chelsea be jomo Champions League and idiot what I say it is say no difference our City mu and Chelsea for the kakra and a match room no similarity and a difference kakra so wom ya monkomo it ye be twan mpanyifo no decision City 115 Chelsea 74 charges ya to us way metie interviewer Vinicius Junior a year with Hugo Boss. Now, there's this thing or can ya interesting me ye pa me pese ye di hon komo kakra. Omo bisa ne say emrebi na wosa, wo hye goal a wosa, samba dance no. Ama supporters ni bufu pa wo hye goal na okogina wona wosa na ye toto niema ebro. E no say, look, sade no onye na adwen so peso ojai. Na ade a eye no culture inti also gola on also exhibiting the culture. Now it has been a topic at it through Europe. Do one feel say or yes or the who supporters no or annoying supporters or show mebufu. But in the context of Vinicius Junior, he is only exhibiting his culture. Again, maybe say a bit of education and I think say yen one kasa so no. We need to project and explain your parts of the story. Kakra eboye nyina. Sa we a Brazil for asa as and nay obi anim say a Brazil for asa. Even at the national team, omushe goal. Yen nyina nim say Samba Stars. Samba Stars. Name in explaining the culture, I'm also giving you a different dimension. Ken I say enya Brazil for us. Every Africa ha, and let me explain this. And now make sure say Africa ha na emrebi buy slave trade no. No makwatam Africa for ye de fa Ghana elmina kastneko. You see, in the history of slave trade no, Brazil for Africa for to do pa e Brazil no. Na eye 4 million Africans na call Brazil. Europe Ukraine dodo sa into Africa dodo na kogu Brazil. Now you see me can you see so say Angola for parts no mo fi Angola ye do mo call Brazil no sanko for near from Quezon people. Quezon. Now follow this one me can you say assembly so. Quezon me nya omo a ken open movies pa. Watch a movie I find the ghost must not be the ghost must be crazy. Ma watch movies a movie no aha es anko for no Quezon for no one na omade omo ye ne se ye do omo koye no omo so culture kakra those days omo culture ne se the ghost must be crazy in the movie ni sanko for the friend Quezon omo fi Angola ho no omo no their culture is that say omo ye adwuma ni nyina ewie ye do omo koye ahwede fuo ni sa ne ma ni nyina du anadwo a ade omo de so giju omo ni ye se omo sa na asa no onfa ne semba enye samba what I say na semba no asechranka sanka say omo fo fi December chese ma bamo maso we fu di abamo na ya sa omo do to edema omo nyame omo som ne say Yakopon ne ema omo favor enum wo mo but what you say inti the dance itself is Semba inti yenuanom Angola for no the Quezon people for no this asa no the call. But essence and nay, Oko Brazil, if you have time and you want to research further, but Afro Brazilians, African for then me catch also do na ko go buy here. Inti players do na to for nebo Brazil ni na 95% omunchi every Brazil. If you remember the Vinicius Junior story, Vini ni sankasa every the tika people for na fi Cameroon. Inti Vini kra ni chief Cameroon. What kind story maybe kra obaye ma ye no. Inti sa no and a Brazil for no afa say about than Brazilian culture. I'm from the samba. Inti say Brazil for national team here from samba football, samba dance. Master, the samba things now Brazil for you know. The real and the original samba nanka sanka fi Angola. The samba dance. And no idea. Inti, but for the Brazilian they are exhibiting their culture. Say Europeans no accepting the culture of Brazil. Say almost so say goal. Say Vinicius Junior say goal. No coaching supporters name na osa. Enya boapaye say ohuru omu o. Senya broni say goal. Mbappe mu say goal. No mu coaching ho na omu sa. Omu fan say they are just celebrating. Then na Brazil for. Then na Africa for. Ono so say goal. Now exhibiting the culture. Omu fan say odi watam. Why? This is a topic that needs proper attention. So Obia is trying to exhibit his culture because Senya Asahun Koma can copy Hugo Boss conversation. In can copy with table where so say now people are discussing say then as they say Europeans for the person Omaka Brazil culture say Momo Yang Omasa Samba na. Why? Because I am not sure say ball no Vini share go be bien see. Ne Vini akwa jina opponent enim esa. When will be that? He does that only when he scores a goal. Only when all jubilate. That is the point. Inti me, I want to say and add to the voice of Vini and the Brazilian guys. Charlie, Africa for so we need to tell our story. Unfortunately, we don't do that. Some of the things maybe are not make maybe me check many be break say Charlie we are saying Africa were beautiful stories. But ya kaya dia na she.
Almost your stories and you're sad.
Sad
sad stories.
And you're sad. Skin at the end of the day to mu Portugal for. Ne kodi Brazil for so. Brazil for fan say a sad story because Portugal for those days na say be na gold ni ade mu kuta bi nto betam slaves to free Africa ha no mo de ko my catch say Africa for na chichire Liverpool kro no because Liverpool port most of them Africans for no mo de omo form free ho eko it's yes so ye wo ye de kakra but the point ni say ye na no ni ye nchirima sorry your grandparents mo na ye do omo ko ho no they went there and omo establish near many bebre nei e wo ho but yakata so yanka
but and yeah, story.
Sometimes it is sad. I tell you say it is like biane say samba. Woko Brazil sisi ya mo adaje. O de Bahia. Say Bahia Football Club.
Africa football.
Up to now, Afibia mo celebrate African Week. Africa for ngwan.
And do dwelling in the mo be file me na eko.
Of course.
Ghana. And do dwelling na yediom be.
We have a good story.
But
that's ne kana kwa akoye style. On say samba na Brazil for ajabo. So but Africa hayao.
Well, samba dance.
Samba Biggie. Boys. Wow. Eso nyamo dia.
Na South Africa for also from saying. Some yeah.
Bafana.
But some also taka Brazilians. I think Sundowns for no.
I'm a Melody Sundowns. Some just in the colors in India.
Okay.
Can Marcus Rashford. Omon homode na onye careful. Na the Barcelona spell no. Anchor endure on a bad note. I am saying this because so Bona achieve a certain status. Our football more. The kind of status I achieve, and no, ɛna de bia nipa ka wasɛm a yɛde yɛsisi dua na yɛde ka wo wasɛm enti de bia ya meka sɛ you are always graded by the standards you set for yourself. Marcus Rashford born homodin or Manchester United. Good performance and consistency. And our ball could do a certain stage. At the point of performance na kwa ABB of which a third is normal in every footballer's career. There steps in a new coach our Manchester United. Coach friend is Ruben Amorim. Or buy and only player and chassis problems. Because of few say the Australia free the top players ho e won the team no Marcus Rashford in team fasade and Manchester United and then omo fall out coach no power to the extent say no fall out with team ni mu pe you have to find your way out of the club and Marcus Rashford the free Manchester United okobolo no Aston Villa no on a very bright start obo around 5 matches now the goal contribution number 4 was 2 goals or 62. Then people started believing it's Marcus Rashford is back. Rashford now in Manchester United. And the more was no. I feel play and as answer pija. I baba be muta Rashford in Ibium. Along the line, performance this answer take off from. Your boss season newie. Your boss season newie you know. Due to demands, sika semne adienti no. Unti be international Aston Villa. Another club was a man opportunity because Manchester United there that same coach and ultimately in Yajuma. There steps in Barcelona. Can I not add so a player now bubble to a certain level? Now a big club, now free big club will say unya playing time and answer there are certain problems. A big club best answer about Befau and paying baby na Ubenya Diabiana what from no about Befau no they call, especially when it comes to loan deals. But Rashford was very fortunate and your team to say Barcelona. And a Barcelona aban wa baba befano and then aban squad in him. It's a few players and I ain't just such an opportunity and so we kayamu. Now the entire make us a Rashford he make sure say on man is spell and on a bad note and say there are reports in Spain. Say coach a friend say Hansi Flick I catch our Brantian openly. So Brantian money more than a Dima Barcelona no and so no coaching any and a Brantian happen the performance. Na nneɛma ntimi nkonkan fama no and when back to asama me di kan say de bia e be grade you per the standards how set ma ho Marcus Rashford fall down nneɛma call for man but Barcelona penny for the technical handlers I am sure they looked at performance bia wada na di pan mre bia atwam e Manchester United and omo kokko fa na de ne bae omo de wo ba obi ti say Ronnie Bargi and e dan the kind of performance I would dan na dia and Kenya problem from my coach, you know, because he's young and he's inexperienced. But for a player like Marcus Rashford, who experience will give him or performance, I want dine a dim rebi now you Gina so the waba. They expect that kind of standard now as set at the amount. So but dine a duo Barcelona bobo anymore. And aside, you know, he's a player who has a lot of advantages. Ken, I am saying a lot of advantages in the Barcelona setup because Obetimi had debutized Rafinha. Obetimi debutize Lamine Yamal. Obetimi debutize Robert Lewandowski. Etienne mu hono miensa no. Position bi asin to bebe bia Obetimi akwa kwashim. Na wasi akan dia ma Barcelona bo boko no. But say koba say when you get the opportunity. Na niema nkon kan say the nipa expect na. Menya sure say coach ni be keep faith in pre-season no especially. We saw Marcus Rashford and then the performance for Barcelona and it was good. But the real season ni mu no. League ni mu no. So your opportunity na oba performance then to say Rashford now you no and then no benam so ama coach na kasa asem no player ni make sure so best sanema na nema konka dia man wo Barcelona because when you get opportunity into big clubs on different occasions now when team and deliver can now ya baba be tough for mo no it won fancy sanema no make sure say ni stay ni be good na Barcelona be fa no wato aso dia momo can moving on William Saliba ni Arsenal honestly speaking. So what say Arsenal eba extend the player and the contractor. We Arsenal supporters say wenije because it makes a lot of sense. First of all, business wise, and so I had the trend of a player purchases. Sika ya de to certain players. Any more quality Ken say who lose player. Ubetimi atona Sika all right. But who di agra Sika na obeje no e bi mpo not to fill in with that same standard. One to be emphasized, Sikana and Kwanku Toby and for Mama Meshesa position. No, she play a bit selling euro. Manchester United torn for 62 million. She play to say Jordan Hatu. Chelsea torn around 46 million. Shobi to say Josco Vario. Manchester City Bobo Kono turn around 90 million. But among all these central defenders, Amabo Omudino, they have quality, yes, almost performance and you're bad. But none of them, and I'm making it a better central defender than the Chelsea Saliba. It is these players, Empo, Omubonia. Imagine say oh Tom Saliba, Obenya Sikanibi. But after Sawaji Sikane, can you buy players on the standard of Saliba equally the Ababa Bishimwana? I feel it is a no. It is a yes, yeah. Who extend the player on the contract now keeping her? It makes a lot of sense. Aside, so Uji Sikana now the Kokotobi or fitted the standard in Po. Ebeshe team ni moi. I feel no Baba understanding the Premier League terrain. The philosophy of the Arsenal team. No one just stay with the partner on any Bababo central defense. No one shall say all good results. And see, I feel say it would be a very good reason, business wise. Say Arsenal be decided to make a player. No. Aside that, when it comes to team building and trophy winning, when you experienced players, our 2 game and I say no more bomb and Nema conquer the amount. Saliba joined Arsenal around 2019. At that time, he was young and inexperienced. Okobo a couple of times. Ogeni experience Oba back was in 2022. And Oba, since then, he's been a constant figure at the back for Arsenal. Until level now, our body could do status now our achieving. A very prudent decision. Arsenal and penny for keeping. But the onus now lies on the player. Is he ready to stay with Arsenal? Because class to say Real Madrid who are brand any quality. Our mobile den so mobile. But for Arsenal, they can say can be one more mobile so make it player now. They have to do everything humanly possible. So make it William Saliba. Now we see a kind of momo. Naka Krebi or Nicholas Jackson. Say player better not team who are fighting for position. I am a yepa. But over fighting for position again. A team natural. So omu hiao. And numu na obetena. No are fighting for position. Transfer window there is one clear example. Chelsea decided to offer Femi Lopez the free Barcelona. Do you know one of the reasons into a player need decided here? Say on match Chelsea. And now on free Barca. And found the time here limited. He granted an interview. And okay, so no Barcelona will be free. Because the time he limited was Barca team him. Looking at performance last season. So Nyakwanya be now dined, you know. Coach Hansi Flick here. Or in the boy he called the player and only player and tenase. And no catchy player and say, what time they are limited, they no credit, you can toss pa. But it is limited because of the competition. I will position now ubunim. But me coach ready me here. And until that time be say muya dia na me de wa basa brana be boame. These words he spoke to the player, and the player need decided for better na unko baby. But Nicholas Jackson situation there sana. And tsa it was clear Chelsea didn't need him. Okay. It didn't first will be any so. Sa grant anybody decided for better na Chelsea. No fighting for position. Ti Mikelo bin tia kwada na say. The Otini hono. And the name said the decision fa.
Nti wanwane.
Ken say what Daniel say wanwane you.
Okay.
He who fights and one lives to fight another day. Bob Marley ne kai. Nti nyam tokwa bia na ejina hoko.
Mikelo bi na esia mo ne bala kamu na hospital no wanwane.
Eno ne yo no.
Wanwane. And the otna ho wanwane.
Eno ne yo no. But individual difference.
Jackson adwane. The Jackson de meni de ode no yemfansi na meni nkomo kakra mra me ba meto so e de afri ho meba sisia meba ye baba sisia na ba beto so amo power ana dwumadi kase bi koso so nin se Mabeki Foundation no omuguso ayadea omo enso ya doye ne bebre enti ewoma manti bia mo